What's up, fellas? We're ready to roll on at Wake Up Mintzy. It's Tuesday morning, but it's also week 1 of college football. We've been waiting all freaking summer long. It's finally here, back in the Barstool office. We are not live. Joined as always by Tyler Moody holding down the fort from Louisiana. And we got Stu Feiner today. It's Tuesday. Let's turn this crap up. Let's get fired up and get ready for week 1. Let's go, Stu. I try to do my best, ready to roll. How are you doing on this lovely Tuesday morning?
Listen, feeling amazing, feeling hopeful, feeling positive, feeling blessed. Anytime I see you, chills run through my body. I don't know whether it's passion or asthma, but I'm telling you, I feel goosebumps, Ben, and let's go, baby. Hi, Tyler. Hello, Ben. Hello, Barstool, Chicago. Let's do it, Ben.
Hell yeah, dude. For bringing out all the emotions on this Tuesday. Well, Stu, you know, it's been a long road. We've been talking football into the summer. I know you've been in baseball mode. You've been doing a million Cameo shout-outs. I saw you're in the top 5 in Cameo in the world right now.
Yes,
but,
top 6. Scott Hansen passed me because he has the NFL pushing him with $40 billion and the Olympics with another $20 billion. It really isn't a fair fight, but, you know, I deal with the elements. I don't bitch, and I just rock and roll. Almost 310 cameos, netted in my pocket, almost 25,000 in my pocket so far. I only started July 4th, so can't be mad about that. You know, only in America, only if you're Stu Feiner and you're best friends with Ben Mintz.
Yeah, I'm currently about 110th, but we're on there. I need to get in the top 100, so buy cameos for me if you need fancy
you're
football.
in the top 120. That's the bottom line.
You know, we're in there. It's like me, Don Beebe, Jim Miller, the old quarterback, the Boz. I mean, it's still a pretty damn funny list, you know. It's all kind of.
It's a great list.
I think we're all living a simulation. That's what I'm convinced of. Well, end of the summer, you've been enjoying the 88-degree pool still?
Oh, absolutely. I've been swimming like 30 laps a day. I haven't been able to get myself into my walking mode yet, but I lost a pound yesterday. Very grateful. Anytime you lose, so it's well over 2 months right now with absolutely zero sugar and zero marijuana. Haven't been able to eliminate the carbs or the fried foods yet, but I'm staying at about between 2,200 and 2,900 calories a day. You know, not like a starvation diet and not even really a weight loss mode, but I'm staying away from the sugar. I'm staying away from the marijuana, which are my 2 trigger points, dealing with life on life's terms, you know, building emotional muscle, dealing with the highs of lows of being married for 46 years, having 4 children, having the biggest business in the world, the stress of picking games on a daily basis, the stress of having millions of dollars paid to me to perform, to have a paywall, which is really, I'm the only person in the world that sells a paywall because I'm the only person in the world that gets the information that provides you with the best information possible, which is the late steam 20 to 30 minutes before the games goes. The biggest syndicates in the world for over 40 years check with me to see, what I look at. We exchange information, and then by the grace of God, on a daily basis, grind it out, and winners. Now, I spoke to you about how hard it was, Ben, if I could take a moment of your time, and Tyler would educate me too. 8-1 on my 25 dime all-in max best bets in preseason. I won. I was 8 of 9 winning days in preseason, which is almost impossible. But the information was on point. It was spot on, and I was very grateful for that. And another 5-0 yesterday in Major League Baseball. I've just been doing very well in Major League Baseball. My late information has really been rock solid, like 100% rock solid. And again, grinding out 61, 62, 63%. 8 of 10 winning days, and I just continue to win. Now, it's not always going to be like that, but right now, I made people so much money, Ben, and as you know, in August, we're going to play with house money for all my seasonal and monthly clients through September, October, November, December. We're never going into the bankroll. We built the bankroll. It's really super duper high, and I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm blessed.
Hell yeah. As always, Wake Up Mintzy, presented by the fine folks of Dude Wipes. You can find them at Walmart, Target, Amazon, all over the World Wide Web. They're taking over the toilet paper world. One use of Dude Wipes will change your life. And September 1st, you got to love fall. Pumpkin spice Dude Wipes coming. I mean, only in America. But check out Dude Wipes. Yeah, oh yeah, the pumpkin spice.
pumpkin spice dude wipes, not Stella, dude wipes.
Yeah, they've got pumpkin spice flavor. I guess it's a fall thing. I don't know. Dude, the dude wipes creativity with the marketing department blows me away. Follow them on Twitter and Instagram.
So what you're sharing with me is I love scratching my butt and I love smelling my fingers. I love it. I just love it. I don't do it in public anymore because I'm a little older. But I went in my 20s, 30s. I used to smell things and ask anyone to sample what my ass smelled like. So you're telling me if I scratch my butt that it will smell like pumpkin spice?
They've got like odor killers too that are pumpkin spice. So yeah, man,
well,
who knows?
I don't need odor killers because my stink smells great.
Well, I'll say this: with it being hot summer, dude wipes perfect when you get that sweaty butt. You know, when you're out there in the heat, this takes care of the problem. I've gotten to where I travel with them now. They're so useful. Just
amazing. I like
an unbelievable product, and we're waking up as always with our good friend Big Cat, drinking some Stella Blue iced coffee.
Shout out Big Cat. Shout out Stella.
Yeah. Hell yeah! Shout out Stella Blue. But yeah, I did Mississippi. So last week I had a big time at Mississippi. I got to call the defensive. I was holding up the defensive signals at Ole Miss practice, and I held the sign wrong, which is a pretty.
I saw that when you had to go from here to here. That was amazing. I thought, that wasn't performative. You actually fucked that up.
No, I fucked that up. Yeah, I messed that up for sure. Yeah. No, Big Cat's called it out right. It's like all my stuff. It's like it has to be organic. Like I can't force it. Like it has to just be. Yeah, it has to just be me naturally screwing things up. That's how I succeed. It's like failing up the ladder is what I do best.
Correct. Well, in the 80s and the 90s and really in the early 2000s, you used to be able to force it, but now you go to jail for that, so nobody forces anything. You know what I'm saying? No is no. It wasn't like that. It never was like that. No used to be yes, but now no is absolutely no. Otherwise, you're going to jail.
No is no. Fair enough.
Shout out, don't want to go to jail.
No, we got to keep
specifically shout out. No now is no. Where I grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, no was yes. That was yes, but now it's a flat out no. I just want to share gut level. No is no. For everyone listening, no is no.
Maturity, Stu. There you go.
Yes.
You've learned.
Well, really, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to. I wouldn't survive a minute in jail.
Also, DraftKings, we're proud partners of DraftKings, DK partners. If you sign up with code Mintzy, MINTZY, you deposit $5, you get $200 in bonus bets. So looking at you, Louisiana specifically. I mean, you can't beat that if you're just trying to.
How do they overcome that? What if you get hot?
I think they're just trying to get people on there. I mean, I guess.
That's a fabulous offer. How long do you have to keep the money in? Is it like 30 days or you can put it in and pull it out?
Yeah, I think you got to put it in and play through the bonus once. Okay. So you got to play through the 200. But the thing is about it,
you got to turn it over 30 times or something.
Not even that. No, it ain't like an insane amount or anything. What's cool though? Yeah, but the thing that's cool about draft, you're like, look, man, you and I talk about the gambling all the time. Whether you're a $5 player, 50, 500, it's all relative. But like, if you just want to. For like $5 and $10 players, I mean, you get a free 200 bonus for $5. I mean, you could play 20. You got 20 units to work with there. So it's a great promotion for recreational people just getting started. And then also, I'm excited too with the DraftKings is sponsoring our Fantasy Football Factory podcast with Stephen Shea, Tyler Moody, and me. We're going to be doing the DraftKings lineups for fantasy and entering those tournaments this year. A new episode will be out tomorrow, every Thursday morning all season long. So we got some momentum here, Stu.
Good luck with that.
It's the football season thing being in the air. And I feel like you were I didn't see your pick on Saturday, but I was not surprised Georgia Tech beat Florida State at all. I really wasn't. My dumb ass, Stu, I like Georgia Tech money line all summer. It was like plus 325. And I decided to take the first half money line instead because I was worried Georgia Tech's rushing defense would get blown off the ball in the second half. Florida State makes a 59-yard field goal to tie to push my bet, and then Georgia Tech wins the game. So I should be up like 4 or 5 units already. But whatever, the idea was right. I had the game handicapped right. I thought Florida State was extremely vulnerable. I think DJ Uiagalelei is not good at quarterback, and there had to be a huge hangover from them not making the playoffs last year and everything that happened. That's just a weird thing to bounce back from. So I wasn't totally shocked by that Ireland game Saturday.
Right. Week 0, I did nothing. I didn't go in at all with money on either of the 4 games, really, that you could bet that day. So you had 4 games, 4 over-unders, 8 selections. I had a slight play on. I went 1-1 on a couple of over-unders, but my money that day was in preseason football and Major League Baseball. So looking forward to this 5-day run, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, of college football. That'll give everyone the spirit, and then we go right into the NFL, and I'll be seeing you, hugging you, giving you big hugs and kisses Tuesday. Me and Sandy will be in Chicago Tuesday afternoon. We're going to eat dinner, fabulous dinner, of course, Tuesday night. Then we're going to film the show Wednesday, and then we can get in trouble all Wednesday. Go to dinner again Wednesday night. I leave Thursday morning, and then we got NFL. We got NFL. I love it. Now, what was the word you heard about? Now, I mean, the expectations at Ole Miss have never been this high, at least in the last, 2 decades?
No,
So,
literally
I mean,
going back to like the 60s, Johnny Vaughn.
oh my God. So you're talking 60 years. So 70 years. So how are they handling the expectations of their being predicted for maybe a 1 or a 2 loss maximum season and in, let's say, the top 6 in the playoff hunt?
Well, so you could tell I went to practice a couple days. It's serious. It's all business. Lane's got it pretty locked down. You can feel that everyone knows what's at stake here with the season. And the thing is, though, third-year starting quarterback, they beefed up the biggest thing is like Ole Miss, whenever they play like Georgia and Bama last year, they just got wiped out at the line of scrimmage because the difference in the SEC is the defensive and offensive lines. And Ole Miss they could scheme it up and they had skill guys, but they were just too weak in the trenches. And they went out and spent a crap ton of money with the Grove Collective, and now Ole Miss is loaded on the front 7 on defense, and then they got 4 offensive line transfers. They have 221 combined starts on their offensive line. It's the most in NCAA history. And so that's the difference with this year. You got a third-year starting quarterback. You got a ton of skill talent, but they've had that. It's about the offensive and defensive line, specifically the defensive front. And then the coaching staff's insane, too. Chris Kiffin, Lane's brother, just got back on the staff. He was D-line coach for the Browns. They took the Mississippi State head coach, Zach Arnett, who was their head coach. He's a defensive analyst. You know, this staff is crazy. And so Joe Judge, who coached the Giants and busted, he's on the staff. I mean, they've got like 4 or 5 head coaches on the staff. So the over-under is 9.5 wins right now on DraftKings. The good thing for Ole Miss, I mean, it kind of sucks for entertainment. Four basic preseason games to start the seasons, too. I mean, you got Furman, Middle Tennessee State, at Wake, and Georgia Southern first 4 weeks. So, I mean, I'm not Lane Kiffin. He'd say this is rat poison, but like kind of scrimmage in the first 4 weeks to figure things out, if you want my honest opinion. And then it starts up big September 29th. And Kentucky comes in. I've got Ole Miss at LSU Saturday night, Death Valley, October 12th.
Wow.
That one's on my calendar.
Oh my God. They could be 6-0 going into that game.
Good chance, yeah, great chance. I got Kentucky and at South Carolina, first 2 at SEC. That one's going to be just supercharged. And then, you know, all kinds of rumors. The Barstool show's going to Oxford for Ole Miss, Georgia. Really hoping that happens.
My God.
November 9th. And then I got the Egg Bowl. Yeah, so I'm going to hold back strategy-wise. I'm going to enjoy this late summer Chicago, beautiful weather. I'm going to hold back in September and save it up for the big games in October and November is kind of my strategy, I think.
Love it. Now, so the first 4 line games for Ole Miss, they're going to be 30, 40 points
lines?
Oh,
yeah. I think they're like 50.
Maybe higher?
Yeah. Against Furman, they'll be that. At Wake, they'll probably be like 21 to 24. But Wake, 2 years ago, Wake made the ACC championship. But this NIL era, they've been falling off. They're not very good. So, yeah, they're going to be huge favorites first 4. And then, you know, when you look at the SEC, you got an 8-game schedule. You got to go 6-2, I think, to make the playoffs. At LSU, though, they're a 2.5-point underdog at LSU. They're a 7-point home underdog to Georgia, and they're favored in the other 6. So
okay, but but in theory, they could definitely beat LSU, and they could beat Georgia. They play their A game. They don't turn over the ball. They force the turnovers, and they could run the table. I mean, not that they will, but they could. This is the first time that they could run the table since, like you said, mid-'60s.
No, yeah, no doubt. They theoretically could. That at LSU one. LSU has a bye the week before. I feel like they're walking into one there. That one's going to be really tough. But the Georgia game, I feel pretty good about just to being in Oxford. But yeah, just can't wait for the season. I mean, just Lane's got everybody, like people are losing their minds in Oxford. Just, you know how it is in sports. I mean, you see it in New York. Like the Yankees have a million titles, but when the Mets are good, people are going nuts, because the team, whenever the team or the school that's not historically a winner rises up, the fans go crazy. Because I think it's better for sports when everybody gets a chance to win. I don't think it's great when, you see Bama dynasties and stuff. Like, I like everybody having a chance,
Yeah, no two ways about it. And then I'm not good at futures in any sport because I like to pick, 20 to 30 minutes before the game goes. I don't get any of my reads or my skill set. Really, I can't put into play until late steam money comes in. I speak to the biggest gambling syndicates in the world over the last 50 years. But going forward, I've seen everyone is predicting Georgia and Oregon. Is that really what you're feeling? I mean, even though, of course, you want Ole Miss there, but Georgia and Oregon for the national championship, is that really, if you were putting your money right now on the line, is that where you'd go?
I'd go with the Ohio State Buckeyes because what I'm hearing, so Ohio State spent like $20 million on NIL, but Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel, two legendary national championship coaches at Ohio State, they were out at practice for a week, like 2 weeks ago, and both of them said this is the greatest college football team they've ever seen. And right when I saw that, I was like, and, I'm a weird signs from the universe.
Miami of Florida better than,
I mean, they say, look, well, all I know is
both sides of the ball, you're saying.
That's what they were saying. Well, I'm curious. They got Will Howard, the transfer quarterback from Kansas State. The Ole Miss superstar running back Quinshon Judkins plays for Ohio State now. They have him and Travion Henderson. Ohio State's always got a million stud receivers. Caleb Downs was like the best safety in the country. He transferred from Bama to Ohio State, so now he's on the back end of that defense. Look, they're loaded. The Oregon thing, though, Ohio State goes to Oregon. So October 12th, Stu, circle your calendar. October 12th, Ohio State at Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas Cotton Bowl, Ole Miss at LSU in Baton Rouge, and Penn State at USC, all the same Saturday. And
wow.
I think Florida, Tennessee maybe that day too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Good. Yeah, but the Oregon thing is fascinating too because Phil Knight, 86 years old, founder of Nike, has written an unlimited blank check to Oregon for NIL money. Unlimited. So they can spend whatever. So they go get Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback, who's a stud. They go get Evan Stewart, the ex-5-star receiver from A&M. They got a loaded receiving core, great quarterback. But they're ready for the Big Ten because Oregon, under Dan Lanning, he comes from Georgia and Bama. They're tough at the line of scrimmage. And that's the thing you worry about with those West Coast teams. Like USC, how's USC going to do when they got to go play cold weather games in November? They're not tough up front. They've got skill guys, but they're not going to like playing 30-degree weather. Oregon can grind it out at the line of scrimmage. They got the skill guys. That Ohio State-Oregon, I feel like Ohio State-Oregon are going to play the first game, and they're going to play a rematch in the Big Ten championship game. And I think, like I said, when I saw the Urban Meyer comments, I mean, I'm taking that seriously on Ohio State. But Oregon's right there. They're easily the two best teams in the Big Ten. When you look around the rest of it, the Michigan thing is really weird this year. There's kind of a stench going on. There's the lingering sign-stealing stuff. Harbaugh went straight Pete Carroll on him, like Pete Carroll bolted USC. Harbaugh got his championship. He got the hell out of there. They got a new quarterback. They got talent on defense, but I feel like this may be a little bit of a rebuild for them. They got Texas week 2 at home, and then Penn State until they win big games. I mean, they go 9 or 10 wins every year, and they just lose all their big games. So I think it's Ohio State and Oregon in the Big Ten, and I think the SEC, Georgia's definitely the favorite. But this is so Georgia's 24-0 the last 3 years in the SEC regular season. I mean, how the hell is that even possible? But this year, Stu, Georgia finally has tough road games. They got to go to Bama, to Texas, to Ole Miss. I mean, I don't think they're getting through that unscathed. I just think that's going to be tough. I still think they're the best team, but they could lose 1 or 2 of those easily. And then I like the Ole Miss situation. Like I said, I think the schedule's favorable. They've got at LSU and Georgia is the only two they're underdogs. And then looking around the rest of the league, I mean, Texas, a lot of hype about Texas coming to the SEC. Obviously, they were a playoff team last year. They lost a crap ton of talent, though. They lost an NFL running back, 2 NFL first-round receivers, a third-round tight end, and then they lost a first-round defensive tackle and a second-round defensive end. I know they reload with NIL and they spent money in the portal, but that is, no matter who you are, that's a lot to replace. I still think they'll be very, very good, but I mean, I think they'll at least lose a couple games. And then the other fascinating thing, SEC, is no Nick Saban at Alabama. What's that going to be like? They hired Kalen DeBoer, who did, I mean, what he did at Washington. They were top 30 preseason last year, and they made the national championship game. I think he's a spectacular coach. I think the offense will be better with Milroe. But the question is with them, losing Saban, the defense has to regress. Has to, right?
Yes,
has to.
100%. Yes.
So the question is, does Bama fall to 9-3, or do they still win 10 or 11? I mean, I still think they'll win at least 9 just because of how good that program is. But I'm curious on that front. And then other dark horses, there's a lot of hype on Missouri. They finished number 8 last year. look, they've just got a weak schedule, and that's the thing with them. They play 4 joke games early. They got to go 2 A&M and 2 Bama, but then the rest of their schedule is pretty favorable. I still think they're like 8 or 9 wins. But looking around, and then also, while I'm at it, I'm just going off. A&M, fascinating this year too. I'm not saying playoff team, but the Jimbo Fisher era stunk. He was outdated. His offensive schemes were 10, 15 years ago. He didn't adapt to modern spread college football. And now they got Mike Elko in there, who's an A&M guy. Who the hell wins games at Duke's too? He took over Duke after Duke won 5 games in 2 years. He wins 16 games in 2 years at Duke.
No, they were very competitive. They were well coached, just like you're pointing out. Very well. He's a great coach. Great.
And he was at A&M. He was the defensive coordinator in 2020 when they won the Orange Bowl and finished number 5. So he gets the A&M culture. It's a new era, and they're opening up Saturday nights too. How turned up is Kyle Field going to be? Notre Dame at A&M Saturday night.
Well, that's the best game on the entire card this week.
Yeah, A&M a 1-point favorite. My initial instincts on that, the over-under is pretty low at 47.5, 48. I think it's still going to be low scoring. I think you're looking at a game. So Notre Dame's quarterback, Riley Leonard, played for Elko at Duke the last 2 years. Interesting. Got to think Elko knows the scouting report, though, a little bit on him, right?
100%.
And
they know him like the back of his hand.
And A&M's got a really good defensive line. And then on the other side of it, I like A&M's quarterback, Connor Wegman. He got hurt last year. But A&M's offensive line, they couldn't run the ball last year. A little shaky up front. And so I think Notre Dame's got a good defensive line, and you're looking at like a 2017, 23-17 game. I don't know who's going to win it, but
all right, gun to your head. Who's going to win that game? Gun to your head.
I'm going to go A&M. I'll go A&M. I think the new energy, I think A&M at Kyle Field is just a different energy. A&M hadn't won a road game since October of 2021 against Missouri. But they're tough. They went 6-1 at home last year. I know all those Aggies are going to be whooping like crazy. And there's just a new energy. This Jimbo era stunk. It was time for something different. And now they got their guy in there. And I feel like you're going to see renewed energy out of that program. And say what you will about Jimbo. He recruited like crazy. And yeah, they lost some guys in the portal, but they still got talent all over that roster, especially up front on defense. And they got this Purdue kid who led the Big Ten in sacks last year, a 280-pound defensive end, and he transferred in. So they're loaded up front. So I like A&M in that game. I think that one's going to be turned up. I know Casey Smith's super pumped. I'll see her in the office in a couple of days. Looking around the rest of week 1, there's a lot of crappy games. A lot of people have scrimmages like Ole Miss, but there's still some really good ones. And Georgia-Clemson, 11 a.m. on Saturday. They're actually playing in Atlanta, so it's a neutral site game.
2 touchdowns right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon Walker.
13 and a half.
Yeah, Brandon Walker's real big on Clemson this year, but I'm not seeing it. I don't think Klubnik, that quarterback's very good. And Georgia, they killed Florida State in the bowl game, but I feel like they're really out for blood after losing that SEC championship to Bama and not making the playoff, even though they've lost 1 game in like 2 games in 3 years. So I just there's no way I could go against Georgia. That over-under is like 47.5, 48, a little lower. But I got to see it. Like what I've seen out of that Klubnik kid at Clemson, like, yeah, he could improve, but I just don't think he's that good. And Georgia's going to come out ferocious. Carson Beck, their quarterback, one of the Heisman Trophy favorites. Atlanta, you could call it a neutral site till you're blue in the face. I'm not buying it. That's the heart of Georgia. And I think you're going to see Georgia coming out pretty strong. 13.5 is a lot, especially when the over-under is only 47, 48. You're not talking about a game in the 30s or 40s, so that's a lot of points. But I still can't go against Georgia there. And then the 2:30 game that's really big, Miami at Florida, is fascinating. Every year, Stu, the U is back. The U is back. I mean, we hear it till we're blue in the damn face. But Mario Cristobal, they've spent a crap ton of money in NIL. They went and got Cam Ward, stud quarterback from Washington State, who many people thought was going to go to the NFL. He's at Miami. They have a loaded roster, but I still got to see it to believe it. I mean, all they do, it's every year the U's back until they're not. And also, you're really big. One of the things I love about Stu, he fades the public. Miami's a 2.5-point favorite in the Swamp. That line looks pretty smelly. They're saying, hey, you can take the better team. They win by a field goal. Florida's going to have a sold-out Swamp. They hate Miami. They're going to be jacked up. And, the Florida Gators, Billy Napier is on the hot seat going into this year. But, man, they actually have a really good offense. Graham Mertz played real well last year. The defense kind of cratered late. But I don't think they're as bad as people think. And so, I'm a home underdog type guy. I know you are. So I'm leaning Florida in that matchup. And then those are the 3 biggest. And then also, Stu, Sunday night, Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, LSU, USC. This one's going to get buck wild because neither team plays defense. They both have stud offenses. The over-under right now is something I'm looking at. It's 63 and a half. I would argue it should be 71 or 72. I think this game could be 45-41, and I wouldn't blink. You look at like the LSU. They were 110th on defense last year. They upgraded the staff. They're bringing Blake Baker from Missouri. Harold Perkins is a stud pass rusher, but where's the rest of the talent? I mean, you're looking at an LSU team that usually is just a factory for NFL defensive backs. There aren't any right now. They whiffed in the portal. The D-line looks weak. And then on the USC, LSU's got a great offensive line. I like Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback. I mean, he ain't going to be Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. He's number 2 pick. But Nussmeier can push the ball down the field. They always have good receivers. They got a good running back in Caleb Jackson. And the USC side of it, I don't know if you remember that bowl game, Stu. So Miller Moss, Caleb Williams sat out the bowl game because he was number 1 pick. Miller Moss was a hyped-up quarterback, threw 6 touchdowns against Louisville in the Holiday Bowl. Torched them. And you told
me he was going to have a great game. You said he's been sitting in like, no one knows about him. He's under the radar, but he's a great quarterback, you said. You give him time, he'll kill you.
Well, Lincoln Riley, too, at USC, he's going to score points. That's what he does. And USC's got great skill guys. They've got like 4 stud receivers. So they're going to push the ball up and down the field. This thing's in Vegas, which I feel like is very conducive with no weather for like a high-scoring game. So I think that one's going to get wild. And, it's one of those things where, if LSU and USC play some defensive slugfest, then I'm going to lose 2 or 3 units because I'm slamming this over. In the game, LSU, I saw them at 6.5. Now I've seen it at 4.5 or 5. I'd be very leery of taking LSU in this game. This game being out in Vegas, I think it's a West Coast game. LSU, Stu, 0-4 in their last 4 week ones. Lost to Mississippi State, lost 2 in a row to Florida State, lost at UCLA. They've struggled in these week ones. It's been kind of a thing. So I kind of feel like LSU, I would lean USC in the points, but I love the over. One of my favorite plays of the week.
I remember last year LSU played Florida State, right? They came
last 2 years.
Quarter, right, first quarter, second quarter looked great, and then Florida State just blitzed them in the second half. That game was a joke. I remember that game.
Yeah, and then the one 2 years ago, I was at the New Orleans one that was so crazy. Florida State was winning the whole game. LSU has a 99-yard touchdown drive at the end of the game to go down by 1, and then Florida State blocked the extra point. Florida State won by 1. And that was when I did a video. I was blocking people leaving in the aisle on accident. It just went
amazing.
Super.
Just spewing college knowledge. Mouth of the South, brain of the South, wet vagina of the South. Ben Mintz, baby, can't be touched. I love the knowledge. I just love it. You live it. You spew it off the top of your head, and you really are an oracle of college football knowledge. It's an honor just to talk to you and absorb what you're saying. I don't listen to any of it as far as apply it because that's not how I work. The biggest syndicates in the world produce, they show me what they see, I show them what I see. But as far as pure knowledge and a talking head, you're my guy. I can listen to you talk about making a s'more, a gumbo, or college football. It's like making love when I listen to your voice. It really is. I love you. I love you. I really hope that the people that listen to Wake Up Mintzy appreciate you. Because Tyler Moody is your best friend. He appreciates you.
Oh, yeah.
I kiss your ass. I appreciate you. Obviously, Dave Portnoy is head on over heels in love with you. He sucks your cock in front of the world. You're the only guy that can whip out his cock and put it on Dave Portnoy's face. And Dave says, give me more. And I just want to say the Wake Up Mintzy crowd better appreciate you. No, you don't gotta filter that. It's real. You don't have to own it. You didn't say it. I said it. I'm bulletproof like you're bulletproof. And you own Dave Portnoy, and you own me, and you own Moody, and you own the South. Mouth of the South, brain of the South, wet vagina of the South. The oracle of the South. Southern mints. Let's have some gumbo.
Let's go.
Gumbo. Mary Mahoney's. Biloxi, Mississippi.
Good call.
Gumbo.
There you go. Love that Mary Mahoney's. I
smoked 4 of the biggest blunts ever, the best bud ever. And then I went into Mary Mahoney's. I had 4 bowls of shrimp gumbo. They thought I was like black and 400 pounds. Literally, they were like, I can't believe this Jew just ate more than any person they've ever seen in their life. Shrimp gumbo is the best thing in the world. It's great. It's as good as Italian food or steak. I love shrimp gumbo.
Well, while we're talking about this, Stu, I know obviously you're going to see you in Chicago for Sports Advisors starting back next week. Can't wait. Best show there is. Hopefully going to go forever. I want to know when we're going to be able to grab you and take you on a little Southern road trip, because this is overdue. I know it's tough during football because you have so much and you're communicating with so many people, but the people in the South, they're wondering when we're going to see Stu in New Orleans. It's going to have to be for Super Bowl week.
Super Bowl! The week of the Super Bowl, I'll block out you and me, 50-yard line. I'll pay for the food. You're paying for the tickets. You're paying for all the VIPs because, you own that town. And that's when we'll visit.
We'll make some calls.
We'll go to like 5 different states and the Super Bowl. Then we'll party afterwards. Hopefully we'll make I'll come out of retirement. I'll bet $250,000 on a game. I'll be like Dave Portnoy. And then what we'll do is, as we normally do, I want to blow all the money that week. Blow it up in the air. Maybe we'll buy like a Lamborghini and roll and just drive to Ole Miss, drive to Mississippi, party with the crowd, and then we'll just go. We'll go to Louisiana. We'll go everywhere. We'll go through the South. You and me in a Lamborghini. Let's rock.
We gotta get you. I'll tell you what we got to do. We got to get you to ride in one of these Mardi Gras parades with me. Because you will go nuts, and I think we can make that.
Do they allow Jewish people on these Mardi Gras?
Oh yeah. There's plenty of Jewish people.
Well, you'll have to pull some strings for that.
We'll see what we can do.
Let's talk shop.
I think I can make one phone call and make that happen.
I'm married Irish Catholic. That's got to help, right?
Yeah.
And I want to be Italian. I want to be a Southern gumbo man. So I think I can manipulate in.
I think we can make this happen.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta. All right, another gambling question stuff too, because I love picking your brain on it. So you mentioned this, I want to educate some people on the Steam stuff. Okay, so you mentioned the Steam thing. That's talking about the late sharp action that comes in 30 minutes before a game. There's also a Steam thing where when the lines come out on Tuesday, you'll see like the Steam all places bets at once all over the internet, and the lines move like crazy on Tuesday. Which I think is fascinating. They get them, but they place it all at once to where they can't adjust. And then you'll see these lines move like 2-3 points early in the week. But then it's also a thing on Saturday right before the games.
Well, what happens is they make a soft line. So Sunday night, really a line. Now, they make lines. Like right now, you could look at every line for the entire year. But you can't bet 10, 50, 100, $250,000, $1 million on these games so far in advance. They just will not allow it. They won't allow it. So what happens is Sunday night for the following week, for the Thursday night, a singular Thursday college football game, and then if there's a Friday college football game, but really the Saturday and Sunday card, they make a soft line. They make that early line, and then they allow the biggest gambling syndicates in the world to adjust the line, because the odds makers work with the biggest gambling syndicates in the world, because they don't want to get their teeth kicked. So they could be wrong on lines. And how they know they're wrong on lines is they allow specific people to bet millions of dollars that Tuesday into the number. So what they do is they're the barometer, they're the adjustment. And that's really what happens. So they allow, let's say they'll make a line 7.5, and then one of the biggest gambling syndicates in the world will give me the call and go, Stu, this is a wrong line. And all of a sudden you'll see a 7.5 go to an 11.5. So what happens is they'll let some people bet millions of dollars on the game, and then they'll adjust the game for the general public. So throughout the week, it will be the pure line, the true line. So the odds makers work hand in hand with the biggest gambling syndicates in the world. And really what I'm saying is the sharpest people in the world, not these people on TV, not these talking heads, sharpest people in the world are as sharp as the odds maker, and they work hand in hand because the odds maker doesn't want to get beat, and these gambling syndicates want outs to bet millions of dollars throughout the world on the game, and they don't, they're not looking to their knowledge and their skill set is they want to bet the right line because they're good enough to beat the line at any number. So that's what you're talking about. They make a soft number. They allow the biggest gambler syndicates in the world to pound the number, bet unlimited money, millions of dollars on the game, and then you'll see the numbers adjust. And they're not always right, but I would say 65% of the time they're right. So 35% wrong, 65% right. Yes. So you could follow that. But that's not actually what I do because on a Tuesday, the public is not betting. Tuesday, the public is just waking up from getting their dick kicked in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're in a coma. They got to take a shower and go, am I ever going to gamble again? Am I ever going to bet again? That's the basic, because most people get murdered. Most people get killed. Most people, don't do well. They don't manage their money well.
Gamble responsibly.
Correct. They're getting the wrong information from the wrong people, so they have to adjust. And then it takes them time, and then they'll siphon in on a Thursday, bet the Thursday game Friday, and then they'll forget about their past mistakes and go all in Saturday, Sunday. But what I do is in addition to the sharpest gambling syndicates in the world, in addition to my personal read on what I think the public's going to do, watching all these shows every single day and trying to go against what people say and against what they're pushing. You know what I'm saying? They're almost pushing a false narrative. Now, a lot of people will say, well, this person is smart, played in the NFL, this person coached in the NFL, this person was a scout in the NFL, and they all agree. People like to bet that side. I personally love to bet against that side. So I wait to see what the false narrative is being pushed, and then I wait until 30 minutes before the game goes, and I make my selection, and I really believe, gut level, that is the only way to win in money gambling. That is it. There is no other way to win. You're not picking winners based on your knowledge, based on what you know, based on X's and O's. Never happening, not happening, has not happened for almost 50 years that I've seen, and it's not going to happen in the future. I was groomed, remember, in the early 80s by bookmakers, by bookmakers, and then in the 90s, offshore sports books. So I was taught about money, how to follow the money, how to follow a false narrative, how to differentiate bullshit from fact, how to see who, just because you're betting millions of dollars and you have a syndicate meaning you have hundreds of people that post up at the beginning of the year anywhere between $10,000 to $1 million, and they put it in a group, almost like an equity fund. And then these people, as a unit, fire. Now, just because you have millions of dollars to fire doesn't mean you have any brain at all. Doesn't mean you have any skill set at all. You could just have a ton of money and you like to be with this type of people. And it's almost like fantasy football. These people got 10,000 to $1 million to post up, put in. They're betting responsibly. They got the money, and this is how they're going to fire. So not only do you have to differentiate between false narratives, sharp money that's real sharp money, or fake money that's just so much money, conglomerate of money is just, flowing in. Then you have people that go to schools. Similar to you. You might have an Ole Miss fund. You don't care. You're firing every game, everything you got in Ole Miss every week. And you're hoping to go, at the end of the, let's say, a 13-game schedule, 12-game schedule, above 500. You got the action every week. You're rooting for your team. Your heart's on your sleeve. Your heart's on the line. And that's how you're going to play. Similar to the NFL. The actual fan base is married to that team. They want to fire that team. They don't care about other teams. They don't really almost care about winning. They want to back their team with their money. They feel part of the team. They feel like part of the organization. So it's very tricky. It's why I have a paywall. It's why I get paid millions of dollars to do this. It's why I've written almost $100 million since 1981, because I didn't make $100 million, but I've actually grossed almost $100 million in gross money because I have a skill set where this has only been done over 46 years, being taught by the best, being taught by 70, 80-year-old mafia people in the early 80s, and then in offshore where you had Europeans and worldwide people in Costa Rica, in Panama, in all these countries that started offshore. They taught me the nuances of how to do this, why it's done. And, you could really tell, like, certain times a game will move 4 or 5 points starting from Tuesday. It means absolutely nothing. When a game on Sunday at 12:30 for a 1 o'clock start moves a half a point, that half a point is as strong as a game from Tuesday to Sunday moving 5 points. So you got to know this. The only way you know it is you eat, sleep, and breathe it for 50 years. There's no other way to know it. You can't just learn it. And that's why people don't have time to do what I just shared with you. They have lives. They have businesses. They worry about other things, their friends, their family, what they're trying to do in life, what they're trying to build their platform. So that's why they pay me enormous money. That's why I charge ridiculous money, because certain people, I get the biggest gamblers in the world. People that bet $10,000 to $1 million a game, trust me. They trust me based on what I just said. They say, I buy into your system, Stu. I buy into it. I've seen you for 50 years. I've seen you for 40 years. I saw you on Sports Advisors for 10 years. Now I see you on Barstool Sports Advisors. I see the respect that Barstool gives you, the world gives you. Not only are you sexy, not only are you funny, not only do men want to be you, women want to be you, but you really have an undeniable talent and almost like a magical formula, and I just shared it with you.
I mean, the source. That's why you're the one and only. Stu Feiner, StuFeiner.com. StuFeiner.com. Couple more questions because I just love, and I get a lot of great feedback asking you about the gambling stuff. All right, biggest mistakes the recreational gambler makes. I always think, the one you preach all the time that I'm guilty of, picking too many games. Got to be selective, aggressive. That's the only way to do it. 4 or 5 games on a Saturday, not 10 or 12, and there's 60 on the board. Same.
And 4 or 5 games is way too much, but go ahead.
Okay, and then the other one I think is people forcing the primetime games. Because you just mentioned it, week 0, 1 or 2 plays. There's only 4 games on the board. You're not going to force what's not there. When there's 50 games to choose from on Saturday, you're going to sort through and find your best 2 or 3. Same thing with the full NFL Sunday. But you're not forcing the Monday night as much. Is that? Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, 100%. Now, again, it's, do you want to make money? Like, for example, primetime games or amateur hour. Primetime games are purely entertainment. There is rarely value in a primetime game, especially early. You got to really lock in and see what's going on. And again, people bet the primetime game 4 days in advance, 3 days in advance, 2 days in advance. First of all, that's insane. Second of all, you do not have the injury report. You do not see for unforeseen things happen. And now in this day and age from 2020, through the pandemic until now, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. Suspensions, people get arrested, just unforeseen things that really didn't happen a decade ago happen now. But I would say primetime games is sucker bets. Most people are not going to bet an inferior team, and you're going to watch for 2.5, 3 hours a team that should smack that team. And if they smack that team, you're never coming back the next week and betting the inferior team. You're going to bet the better team and hope that form holds, which of course it doesn't. I would say primetime games, singular games, standalone games, people get murdered. People get in a hole. You get in a hole betting Monday, then you get in a hole Thursday. You try to bail out Friday. By Saturday, you're already chasing. And then by Sunday, you're destroyed. And then come Monday, you're going to Gamblers Anonymous. You know what I mean? Literally, you're just out and, analyzing, can I do this? Do I have the discipline to put it in its proper perspective? Now, again, if you have unlimited money, which some people do. If you have fuck you money, some people do. If you have trust fund money, some people do. If you have an inheritance that you can do whatever you want, anytime you want, and some people do. This doesn't apply. Just fire away. Have fun. It's the same as a guy betting 100 a game as you betting 100,000 a game. That's really how it is. Dave Portnoy can bet 100,000 a game for the rest of his life. He will never miss a beat. He can never bet over his head. He's worth $150 million. Dan Katz can bet 5,000 a game on every game for the rest of his life. He's worth roughly, give or take, $20 million. He's never going to get hurt. But that is not most people. That is some people, but it's not most people. So the key is these standalone primetime games are normally sucker bets. Obviously, it makes sense. And as you know, you're a poker player. You're a professional gambler. I'm a professional gambler. Math is math. If you're giving me one game to choose from, a side or a total, even though you can bet first quarters, you can bet props, you can bet player props, I'm not talking that because I don't do that. If you have 50 games to choose from, and I'm going to narrow a 50-game board down to my 5 best bets, then I'm going to take my 5 best bets and take those 5 and load up on one, your possibilities, your odds increase infinitum. So that's why the full card on Saturday in college football is your best bet to make money. Your full card on Sunday in NFL is your best bet to make money. And then the standalone games, you have to really piecemeal them, have extreme discipline, because sure, you want to be with your friends. Sure, you want to fire away. Everybody's at your house eating pizza, eating wings, eating heroes, eating women even. But the point becomes is that you have to have discipline. So it's mathematics. It's pure math. Give me 10 to 50 games to choose from. Obviously, the math is going to be in my favor. Probability of winning goes through the roof. Then that one singular game, even if it's the best game on the card, even if it's that opening game, Baltimore, Kansas City. So you have to really have discipline, really think smart, and manage your money properly. And again, as I always tell you, you could bet 20 games on a Saturday, but only one for real money. You could bet 12 games on a Sunday, but only one for real money. And that's what I do every day. Like, one game I load up on, the rest I feather. And that has kept me alive for 46 years. And when I get hot, that's how you make a ton of money. And also, when I get cold, it minimizes the damage. Most of the time, pure gamblers, when you bet only one game for real money, it minimizes your damage. Your discipline. You're not going to, like, if you lose that early game and that's your best bet, you're not coming back with the afternoon and the evening.
Don't chase.
Of course you want to, but that is a recipe for disaster. And it only gets worse because once you get undisciplined, what stops you? There's nothing stopping you until you run out of money. And no one wants to do that. DraftKings doesn't want you to do that.
Of course not. Gamble responsibly.
Right. They want you to be responsible. They want you as a player forever. That's the bottom line. So I would say one game for money, the rest have fun, feather it, and away we go.
I love it. And then final thing, don't chase. You mentioned it when you're hot, that's the time to press a little bit. And then the biggest mistake is people pressing those Monday nights trying to get even after the weekend. If you're losing, that's when you lower your units. Don't chase, because that's always when the disasters tend to strike. Well, Stu, freaking love waking up with you. We're ready to roll.
You.
Vibes are great. Shout out.
I so love you. I can't wait to hug you. Let's go, Dude Wipes. Let's go, Stella Blue. Let's go, whoever pays you to be a sponsor. I love your sponsors, and I love you.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Tyler Moody. Thank you, Stu. Thank you,
Love
Dude
you,
Wipes.
Tyler.
We'll be back tomorrow. See Stu in the office next week. We're going to be getting ready for college football week 1. Let's have ourselves a week, boys. Thank y'all for listening.
Love you.